Talk about genetics. The best place to get started is with a few simple definitions. And one of those is genetics is simply the study of how traits are passed from parent to offspring. Now, the way we pass those traits is through something called DNA. Now, I'm sure most of us, by show of hands, how many of y'all have heard of DNA? Put everybody in here, okay? Hands down. Can somebody raise their hand and tell me what the letters DNA stand? Do they mean do not ask, because I don't know? DNA, right? Okay, so the young lady told us that DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay, so we're going to all say that together. Everyone say deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay. Now, you see why we call it DNA? Because it's a whole lot easier to say DNA instead of saying deoxyribonucleic acid each and every time. But let's take it piece by piece and we'll explain what it means. When you're in the car, if it's cold outside and everybody's warm in, when you get in the car, the windows frost up, right? So how do you get rid of the frost? Water, okay, you put water on it. But do you like take a water gun and squirt your windshield or your parents' windshield in the car? Get a bottle of water? Okay, that's on the outside. What if it's on the inside? Okay, you put on the defroster, right? Okay. So if there's frost on the window, you turn the defrost on to take the frost off, right? So let's talk about grammar for 1 second. When we look at this word, this part of the word "de" means something. This part of the word means without. So when you turn on your defrost, it's without frost. Okay? So D means without. Anybody know what oxy means? What was oxygen? Oxy referred to? Oxygen, okay? Then if we talk about ribo, this is a kind of sugar. Okay? It's a sugar. And then nucleic means it's found in the, what part of the cell? In the nucleus, okay? So when we talk about DNA, DNA is a sugar found within the nucleus that is without an oxygen, that is missing an oxygen, okay? D means without, oxy means oxygen, ribo means sugar, nucleic means found within the nucleus. Now I'm going to show you why I brought that to your attention. Because what if I told you RNA? And if I told you that RNA stood for ribonucleic acid. Someone raise your hand and tell me structurally, if you were to look at it, what would the difference be between DNA and RNA?
Is that one that has oxygen?
That's correct. The RNA actually has the oxygen present. The DNA does not have the oxygen present. Both of them are made out of ribose, a type of sugar. Sometimes you hear sucrose, that's table sugar. Ribose, that's another type of sugar. Fructose, that's another type of sugar. So anytime it ends in OSE, it means sugar. So DNA is a sugar missing an oxygen. RNA is that sugar with an oxygen. But if we could actually take a look at DNA, what we find is that it looks like little strands of hair, silvery hair. Okay? And DNA is responsible. It's the way our parents pass messages from us onto you guys. Messages like if you're going to be tall, if you're going to be right-handed, if you're going to be left-handed, if you're going to be athletic, all that kind of stuff. So I want to give you guys an example. So I want everyone to sit up nice and straight. Cross your hands in front of you. Take a deep breath in. Let it out slowly. Make sure you sit up nice and straight. Your hands folded in front of you. Yes.
Are you have access to do it again?
There's something to do. No. Take another deep breath in. Let it out. Now look down at your thumbs. Which thumb is on top, right or left? Okay. Believe it or not, every single time you cross your hands, you cross them the exact same way. This is defined by DNA. If you don't believe me, try this. Loosen all your fingers up a bit. choose one hand, move those fingers up one position, and tell me what that feels like. Feels awkward, weird, gross, because every single time across the exact same way. And the trait that we see most often is the left thumb on top. By show of hands, how many of y'all have left thumb on top? Okay, hands down. Think about handedness, like right hand or left hand. How many of you all are right-handed? Okay, hands down. How many of y'all are left-handed? Now, you see how that's only 2 individuals in here? The majority of us in here are right-handed. So the most people are something in, not just in this room, not just in the city of Houston, not in the state of Texas, but all over the world. The most people are something, we call that the dominant trait. So right-handed is dominant over left-handed. The left thumb is dominant over right thumb. So if you can write with both hands, that's something that we call ambidextrous. And that means that you have the ability to use both halves of your brain instead of something genetic or something. Now, the opposite of dominant is what we call recessive. So for the 2 young ladies in here who are left-handed, that means that their mom passed them the left-handed gene, and it means the dad passed them the left-handed gene. They have to have both of the recessive genes to be left-handed. For those who are right-handed, like me, I'm right-handed, but my mom could have passed the left-handed gene to me, and my dad passed the right-handed gene. But the only one that will be seen is the right-handed gene, because what is known as dominance is the one that is actually expressed, or is actually shown. Okay? So let's take a look at a couple of other ideas. One of those is something as simple as what we call your hairline. Okay? There's 2 types of hairline. There's a straight hairline, which you go like that. And then there's a widow's peak. Goes like that. So I want you to turn and look at your neighbor and try and determine which one you have. You have a widow's peak. Like I can take a look at this young man here, and even though he gets an edge up where it goes straight across, I can see this young man does have a widow's peak. Let me see. This young man here, straight hairline, straight hairline. Widow's peak is along the little line right there. Old enough to remember the monster is called the monster. Some animals and plants have more than 2 copies. Usually have 2 copies per se. Strawberries, for example, are what we call octoploid. So can someone raise your hand and tell me how many copies of genetic material do we find in each DNA? Yes, sir. 8 copies, okay? Because octo meaning 8, just like an octopus has 8 arms. So let me ask you this. If we think about getting DNA from a person and DNA from a strawberry, how much more DNA will we get out of a strawberry than out of a person? Think about it. You got an answer for it?
4 times more.
Very good. You got 4 times the amount of DNA found out of each strawberry cell. Now let me ask you this. Where's the DNA found in a strawberry? Seeds. Where are the seeds of a strawberry? We're going to do a DNA extraction a little bit later. First thing we're going to do to get the DNA out is actually crack the cell. And of course, because this is science, we're not going to say we can crack the cell. We have a very special term for that, and that's called cell lysis. So when you lyse a cell, essentially you're going to crack that cell open to allow the material to spill out. Now, if I took an egg and I cracked it open, and then I just took it from about this high and I opened it, what's going to happen with the yolk and the white on it? It's going to spread out. Is it all going to stay separate, egg and yolk? No, what's going to happen when it hits? It's going to all splash everywhere, right? Same thing would happen with a cell as you remove the DNA if you don't treat it, don't put the DNA in an environment where it doesn't break apart. Okay? So like over here, what I have, this is the museum's ladder to success. It's really kind of hard to climb. This is actually kind of like DNA. Okay. So I need a victim. I mean a volunteer. All right, I can take both of you. Come on. All right, young man, what's your name, young man?
Arthur.
Arthur. Okay, Arthur, look at you on this side. What's your name, young man? Reginald. His little brother. All right, Reginald. You come down on this side, Reginald. Okay. Reginald, I'm gonna take those two. Arthur, take those two. Now, this looks like a ladder, right? However, when we make it DNA, what we're gonna do DNA-wise is we're gonna twist it. Arthur's gonna twist it in that direction. Reginald's gonna twist it in the opposite direction. Okay, Reginald, you got that? All right, Arthur, so go down and turn yours that way. And there you go. So that twisted ladder is the structure that DNA takes. Looks like DNA from a human. Very good. Thank you, gentlemen. You can sit right there. And once again, that twisted ladder, once again, there's another fancy word for that. And we call the twisted ladder double helix. Okay? The term double helix simply means twisted. So now, we're going to get ready to do our DNA extraction. You're going to need a few items. Of those items, you're going to need a cup, some water. Okay? The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys the ability to take the DNA that you extract back home with you. And to do that, we're going to give you one of these little tubes. This is called a microcentrifuge tube. So again, you guys can probably tell I'm big on vocabulary. So micro means what? Small. Microscopic. So small you have to use a special tool. See what it looks like. A centrifuge is a device that spins stuff around really fast. Okay? And then, I'll give you an example. So a centrifuge moves stuff around really, really fast. How many of y'all like ketchup or mustard, stuff like that? So you know how you get the ketchup bottle and you get to the very end and there's not enough, so you see where you get to the bottom of it and you're trying to squirt it? I have an easier way for you to get to the end of the ketchup. So here's what you do. You have to make sure the ketchup top is on the top. You have to make sure the top is on the end of the ketchup bottle, okay? So pretend it's the ketchup bottle. And we're going to turn you into a centrifuge. Okay? This is exactly how a centrifuge works. So the ketchup is right down here, right? All the way at the bottom, just a little bit. The top is here. I do this and my kids think I'm crazy because they don't quite understand what we're doing, but it works. Right? So watch, you hold the bottle like this, and then you take the bottle and you spin it like this. And what you're doing is you're being a centrifuge. So it's going to take all of that stuff that's here at the bottom, and where's it going to push it? All the way to the top. So once you sit there and you do this for a few minutes, you stop. If you look at your ketchup bottle, all the ketchup is going to be at the tip right there. So you turn it over, you squeeze a little bit, and the ketchup comes right out. And instead of having, I sit there on the bottom and take on the ketchup on there. What doing this is a centrifuge. That's the exact same as this tube. And take a look at the tube. It's upside down now. You see how that's a little point? Turn it over. This spins around really fast. What do you think all the heavy stuff builds up or accumulates in the tube? At the bottom.